we've spoken about lots already, but I just want to re-talk about it all. How the book came about. So firstly, so you had your daughter.
Yes.
I'm imagining that you had the Instagram started.
Yeah. So that when I had her, I had my own Instagram, but just for my friends, you know. And it wasn't until she was coming up to 6 months old that I started the Young Gums Instagram feed. And really, it was so little at the beginning. It was just me kind of posting a few recipes and questions and images and stuff like that, just for local mums that I knew here. And it was like
friends, other mums.
Exactly. We'd just have chats and stuff. And it kind of snowballed really fast from there. And the book deal came when she was 9 months old. So it was
within 3 months.
Yeah, it was really, really quick.
Because what's amazing is you don't have hundreds of thousands of followers.
No, not at all.
So
it's kind of interesting. It ratcheted up quite fast to about 5,000 within that couple of months, the first couple of months.
Yeah. And do you remember, it's probably a while back now, but how quickly you went on from real weaning, like a little bit of puree, to 3 meals a day?
Yeah, there's a kind of quite a weighty section in the book about this, and because it was a question I was asking lots of people as I went around the writing process. And also there's a section in the book about where I threw it out to the Instagram community to go, what are the big questions, and tell me what the questions are. I'll go and ask these people that I'm meeting.
That's so good.
It's like an FAQ. So in that section, one of the questions was, which meal of the day do you start with? Like, is it breakfast, lunch or dinner? And how quickly do you add others? And in what order and whatever. So the advice that I was given, kind of aggregated from lots of sources, and my own experience too, was that, again, follow your parental instinct and the natural rhythm of what your family is doing.
Okay.
So what I was told was, whatever you choose, stick with it for the first couple of weeks so that the child understands that there's a time to eat, just like with sleep routines and so on. There's a time to eat and signals and that kind of thing around what we do when we sit in this chair, that sort of thing. But then with me, I started with breakfast because I thought she'd be most up for it, most curious, less tired, that kind of thing. And then I added dinner, and then the final one that I added was lunch.
And do you remember how old she was when you...
She was 9 months old by the time she was having 3 meals, so it's quite slow with us.
Yeah, I'm the same. Do you remember what Bee's first meal was?
Yes, her first meal, the first meal I actually cooked for her, rather than just giving her bits of, you know, vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, was a tagine.
Nice.
Some people think, God, but that's a bit wild.
How old was she?
She was 6.5 months old, because I waited till 6 months.
Okay, you did. I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think obviously, I now know so much more, I feel like I do anyway, than I did last time, having hung out with the nutritionists and dietitians and, you know, the child psychologists and, you know, the healthcare workers and everybody that I've met during the process. And I always ask the question, this 6-month thing, World Health Organization guidelines and NHS guidelines and so on. And a lot of people do start earlier than that. And it's just at your parental, you know, discretion, you know. Everybody's line on it, all the professionals, is trust your instincts.
Really?
You know your baby better than anyone else. And if you think that they're interested and they're ready, then what's the problem? Give them a shot, you know.
And so obviously this is all pre-book and maybe pre as much knowledge as you have now.
Yes.
So you were just a mum with your kid at that point. Were you at all nervous with, well, obviously not, but seasonings, and did you just think, actually, I'm just going to give it a go? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was nervous. I was nervous about everything, because I think as a first-time mum, you are. Second-time mum, still are. But for me, it was less kind of nervousness and more just confusion. You know, I just felt like there was so much conflicting advice coming at me as a first-time parent about how best to feed my child, you know, when to start and what to give and in what format, you know, spoon-fed, baby-led, mixture of both, whatever. And then I just kind of felt like there's got to be a simpler way here, you know, these people they're human beings.
They're people, exactly, they're not just a baby, they're people.
And of course there are physical limitations as to what they can eat and so on. They haven't got any teeth and their appetites are tiny and they need certain things nutritionally, of course, which is what we should equip ourselves with the knowledge around. But fundamentally, I just wanted to invite her to the family table as quickly as I possibly could, really.
So nice.
And we love cooking and we're really into
are you real foodies?
Yeah, always. I'm from a really foodie family.
Okay.
And my husband's a great cook.
Oh, good.
And all our friends are, you know, we do We do a lot of kind of entertaining, and people come around and cook with us, and someone brings the pudding and someone brings the salad, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think also living around here where we live, in London Fields, around East London, it's kind of difficult not to be, you know, interested in, you know, creative cooking and, you know, positive eating and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of in your face every time you leave the house, you know.
Yeah. So did you do any batch, like freezer?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not organised enough to do the whole batch cooking thing, to be honest. I was much more seat of my pants. Oh my God, it's 4 o'clock, but we're having for dinner in 2 hours or whatever. So I wasn't ever one of those super, you know, organised mums that was like, I'll just open my freezer and here's like all these things with dates on. No, I just never got there, unfortunately. So my approach was always, what can I do quickly, cheaply, ideally with one hand for most of it, because I had a really clingy baby the first time.
So you were holding your baby with a pan.
And clingy and curious, you know, she wanted to see what I was doing. And then just, you know, trying to stick to the general nutritional principles, like trying to have protein in every, at least, you know, once a day in different meals, unrefined grains, and not like a bunch of kind of like refined carbs and stuff like that in a meal. They're just things that I would like to stick to myself. So I'm trying to do for her as well.
Well, we're all so much more educated about food now. So
and it's easier to find it all.
Exactly.
You know, you go up to the supermarket here and it's all there. It doesn't involve digging around and ordering things online necessarily. So yeah, I just try and keep it as natural as possible. It's that Michael Pollan thing. I read Michael Pollan years ago, this food theorist, and he just says, eat good food, not too much, mainly plants.
So good.
He also says, don't eat anything your great-grandmother wouldn't recognise as food. And you're like,
that's a good one. I like that.
It's not militant, but those principles, it's like, God, it's not common sense, isn't it? In a world where we've got this chaotic food landscape that we're bringing our children up into, where they're going to have to be equipped to make decisions about what's good to eat and what's not good to eat in a way that more, you know, in a more acute way than we ever were. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and of course there were junk food ads on telly and McDonald's drive-through and all of those things that your parents would try and limit and that sort of thing, make decisions with you and for you. But I think for these children growing up today, it's you know, it's a huge thing for them.
And also
you know?
raising you've got 2 daughters, I've got a daughter, and I'm really conscious of Instagram and seeing young women that the likes of, you know, Kardashians or whatever. My fear is I'll have a little girl that is worried about food, and like we all as women, you do that to yourself, don't you?
Absolutely.
You look at your body, but now I can't imagine growing up being 10, 15, 20 and seeing all these people that look perfect and they're all on a diet and they're all at the gym, and I just want to have a little girl that likes food and sometimes she likes a bit of chocolate.
For sure.
Hopefully she'll love broccoli.
But she might also like doing yoga or swimming, whatever, you know, she can make informed decisions.
Just want a healthy little person that's not worried about food. I think food should be really enjoyable and, like you say, in moderation.
Absolutely, yeah, it should be a joy, and there's nothing uptight about the food in that book, honestly.
Which is what's amazing.
It's creative and it's joyful, it's
and
fun.
same as the Instagram. Are you generally quite a relaxed mum? Because you see all of this is very chill, whereas I am the mad person with a Tommy Tippy blender and everything that you should do. But I'm also quite a nervous mum. Well, so are you quite chill generally?
When it comes to food,
yes. Good, yeah.
In other parts of parental life, no. You
okay,
know,
that's reassuring.
My sleep schedules are all over the place. I'm a total mess trying to get the prams out of the house. I never know where anything is and their clothes. I always forget to reorder nappies. Oh my God, I'm a complete mess. Okay. But food, I'm cool with.
You're good with the food. And were you good with the food? It's a bit different, but I think it kind of does lead into some conversation with breast or bottle, whatever you did. Was that a nice experience that when you did move on to the second stage of eating or drinking, did it feel quite an easy transition for you or not?
Yeah, no, it did. I think, well, I was breastfeeding at the time. I breastfed my first baby for quite a long time, actually. She stopped herself, actually, without me doing anything.
How old was
she? How old was she? She was about, she was 22 months.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
And I mean, I hadn't intended for it to go on that long at all. I hadn't even intended for it to go on at all, to be honest. I had no expectations.
Yeah, that's a good way to start there.
And then it went on. And from 12 months, she had bottles of cow's milk as well.
Yeah,
you know?
So post 12 months, you're doing a feed at night or something, I presume.
Yeah, totally. She'd just hold her own bottle and drink it. And when she was at nursery, she'd had that as well. she was a milk monster. Everybody at nursery was like, wow, she loves milk more than food. So she really liked milk. But yeah, she carried on with the breastfeeding kind of her own volition, really. It wasn't certainly ever pushed by me. It was just in the daytime at that point. But she stopped, and I didn't really know why. We were actually in Ibiza on holiday, and I thought maybe she was too hot. Or we were in a big villa with a bunch of other friends who've got babies.
And she was
actually the oldest baby, and I wonder whether she saw the other babies breastfeeding and she wanted to be a big girl. That's in my mind what was going on.
Sweet.
But then I got home and did a pregnancy test, and I was like, maybe my milk changed because I was pregnant. So I think she might have known before we did that this one was coming.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Now that's my theory.
What do you do on the go? I'm assuming not a pouch.
I feed, with food?
Yeah, with food, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with food.
Just when you mentioned Ibiza, I thought,
oh, yeah. If I'm organised, which as we've covered, I'm not always massively organised. If I am, then I will throw some what we call in our house pram snacks under the pram.
Which are
things like I'll make up a bunch of like raw cake balls. Now Bea will do it with me. Like ground almond, mashed banana, a bit of vanilla extract or lemon zest or something. Roll. Make like 15 or so. They can live in the fridge, and we'll just grab 2 or 3 and take those. Or I will take. What else do I take? Like little, I do like cheese and courgette muffins or little teething biscuits or those kinds of things, just like the baking stuff. And those things keep for 3 or 4 days or longer. So I'll just take a few of those sorts of things out with me, and she'll just munch on those. So yeah, I mean, the thing that put me off the pouches and kind of what got me going, and jars, obviously, packets, was when I first walked down the baby food aisle when she was coming up to 6 months old. I just was reading the back of some of them, and one thing caught my eye which freaked me out a bit, and it was the shelf stable for 18 months symbol. And I was like, okay, so does that mean that the food in this jar is not only older potentially than the child about to eat it, but it actually could have been picked and packed and processed before she was even conceived, a 6-month-old. That's weird when there's an apple. I can see one on that stand over there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what made me go a bit, oh God, about it, And so I just thought, why would I buy something that's potentially been sitting here for a year and a half?
You wouldn't eat it.
I wouldn't want to eat that. So why would, So it was that really that kind of got me thinking in a Carrie Bradshaw kind of way about it in the first instance.
I kind of got to thinking.
And then that's where the Instagram came from, of going, I can make this stuff myself, I think. I've got a kitchen, I've got a fork and a blender, and,
and a bag of apples.
Let's have a go. And that's why, like I said, kind of Instagram started with just local mums around London Fields and Dalston, my NCT group, people that were all going through the same thing at the same stage, and we were just all WhatsApping each other and everything, and I was like, I'm going to take a picture and put it on Instagram of this. So that's where it all came from, really. So, and then I started reading, and I was hanging out at the library, reading kind of academic reviews of infant nutrition and stuff like that. Wow. I was going deeper and deeper into the library. They're like, oh, it's her again with the baby in the sling.
How are you doing it all? You've written a book, you've got a real job as well, aside from like a project that's just now not a project, it's a whole new career. You have another job. What's your hack? What are your little things that kind of make life doable?
Well, I think it's a few things. First of all, I have a really, really supportive husband who is just incredible in every part of parenthood and being a husband as well. He is he'll do all sorts of stuff. He'll cook for them, he'll wash their clothes, he'll do bedtime.
And do you miss at all, even just bits of it, your old, had and still do quite a similar job to what you were saying before about travelling lots, and I'm at the early stage where I'm definitely making that transition of I won't be travelling as much for work and stuff. Do you miss any of that, or are you kind of really, I think some women don't want to say actually I do miss a little bit of my old life, and others genuinely don't miss it at all. Do you miss it, or are you quite...
It's funny. In some ways I do. I think it's the independence of making stuff happen and, having 2 hands to go up and do things and people like looking to you for your opinion on stuff, rather than you're taller than me, can you reach that thing for me? Or I'm hungry, sort it out. That kind of stuff. So that yes, I do miss. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But I think by the time the babies came, I think I was ready, you know, I was really ready to change things and live in a different way.
I think that is everything.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
She stayed asleep.
She is amazing.